Hey, I'm Jared, and this is my story. Hey, I'm the founder and the owner of Jared Fager Academy. And just to give you a quick background on myself, when I grew up, my family grew up very poor. We lived in trailer parks, apartment complexes, stuff like that. The relationships around me, I have 6 little sisters, all of them amazing, great girls, no boys, which I'm actually pretty happy about. I'd have to really like compete a lot with like another boy, like fight and stuff. So I'm not a big fighter or anything like that. But I had 6 little sisters. They're great. I have a mom and a dad. They're great. I have great relationships with them. But when we were growing up, we were growing up in trailer parks. We didn't have a lot of money. We didn't have, we used to have a lot of money. And my parents actually, in reality, they fought a lot, which really took, was probably my biggest challenge in life growing up. That was the thing that's probably cost me probably the most pain over my life. I grew up, we moved a lot. I've lived, I think, in like 20 states or something like that. I've been to more than half the U.S. because we just moved a lot. My parents starting new businesses and doing the things they were doing and trying to figure their life out. We moved a lot, and that's kind of where the upbringing that I grew up. I grew up in Alaska, and I spent most of my time around in Alaska and Utah, places like that. And I grew up, and now I'm maybe getting to be a little bit older, maybe 19, 20, 21, somewhere in there. And my biggest challenges, there were 2 really big main challenges that I faced growing up. And number one, my parents fighting a lot really took its toll on me. It took such a toll on me that there was a point in my life where I really had decided, and I'm somewhat of a religious guy, and I remember saying a specific prayer where I basically told God that I was never getting married, that it was not in the cards for me because I really didn't feel that I could do it. I didn't feel like I could hold a marriage together. And I wanted to be married. I just didn't think I could do it. I really just didn't believe I could do it. I didn't know how and when or why, and that was very hard on me. I always kind of had the ambition to be a business owner. I wanted to own my own business and do my own things. And I started my first business. I borrowed $20,000, $30,000 from my grandpa. It was probably the only $20,000, $30,000 he had. And maybe not, I don't know that, but he gave me this money, and I'll be honest, I was a terrible business owner. I lost everything. And there was this point in my life where I'm terrified of getting married, though I kind of want to, and I'm terrified of businesses because I just had one fail on me, and I wasn't really sure that I knew how or that I could do it. And those two things, and at the same time, actually, as that was happening, I was dating a girl who I was crazy about, and just this whirlwind of my business falling apart, not knowing if I could really have relationships with a girl, these kind of things is where I was at. And I didn't know how to overcome those things. And what I did was I decided that I wanted to. I wanted to overcome. I wanted to someday, even though I had told God I wasn't going to get married, deep down I wanted to. And I wanted to have that type of relationship. And I wanted to be successful at business. And what I ended up doing was I made it, in my thinking and through what I thought the only way for me to really know how to own businesses and how to have relationships with my wife and to have long-lasting relationships with people, I decided that I was going to make people my goal. I was going to learn. I felt like if I knew everything about people, that I could feel comfortable getting married and that I could feel comfortable starting businesses and that I would be successful in those businesses. And I made people my lifelong goal. I read books. I studied all day. Even to this day now, 90% of my day is consumed thinking about people. And as I started thinking about people, I started to learn that this life and that the people around me, it was way more calculatable than I thought it was. I read so many books that didn't help me, and I went through so many seminars that didn't help me, that I really just started doing the research myself. That I started asking a million questions to the people around me about why they were doing things and how they were doing things and when they were doing things. And I didn't want to see through the lens that I saw through. I wanted to see what everybody else's lenses were. And I started to see pretty quickly that people weren't all that different. And because of that study, I started to really understand people at a really high level, and I started to be able to, one, get awesome results in my own life, where my relationships at this time, honestly, I have around 350 employees. I love those people, and they love me. And my relationship with my wife, I love my wife, and my wife loves me, and I love my kids, and they love me. And that was the exact type of life that 10 years ago, I didn't even think was possible. And so I developed this plan, this course, these things that people could go through so that they could learn about people. And they started getting results. And they started seeing how easy it really was to have really great relationships with their spouse. And how easy it was really to have the type of relationships they wanted at work. And how easy it was to have the type of relationships so that they could own their own businesses and do their own things and have their own dreams and have their own goals. And I find that most people were in that same situation as I was 10 years ago. Doubting that I could actually be married and in a good relationship, and doubting that I could own a business and make money. And as I learned these things, I started to teach, and I started to put together a class that could make it so that not just I could have that type of lifestyle, but so that everybody could have that type of lifestyle. That's really, for me, what the Jared Fager Academy is all about. Jared Fager Academy is about teaching people the little things that they have to know in order to be successful, to give them their own map, their own way, their own mountain, the things that they need so that they can really understand how much, maybe control is not the right word, but really how much control they can actually have over their own lives. I want you guys to know, if I wouldn't have learned the things that I learned, and I'm being honest when I say this, there is not another class that will teach you what we teach. There's not another class out there that can teach the things that I learned, going from growing up in trailer parks with parents that fought all day long to going to where I am today. There's not another course out there that can do it. And so in my own way, more than like, I'm thankful, I'm grateful for the things that I learned. I'm abundantly thankful, abundantly humbled at the things that I learned and that I was taught along the way, almost through inspiration, the things that I learned and the things that I was taught, so that I could really get the type of life that I wanted. But I'm more grateful for all the people around me who have taken these classes and they've learned the things that I learned, and they ask me the questions about how they work and how their spouses work and how their coworkers and the results that they're getting. I'm humbled by that as well. Really, I'm Jared Fager, and that's my story.